following podcast is improvised satire and all characters are fictional.
Hello, I'm Dean Ardenfell. This is the podcast where I interview employees of the many subsidiaries of my favorite multinational conglomerate, Hogswood Cooper Media. Just my little reminder that corporations are people too.
Hogswood is known as a business that owns almost all things. From fracking to drugs, private prisons to casinos and guns. Dean is the man who's their number one fan. He loves them so much. And he wants to chat with each person who works for the brand. He doesn't work for them. This is a fact you should know. Dean Ardenfell is here talking to folks for his show.
Hello, dear listeners. Dean Ardenfell here, and boy, it's been an eventful 2 weeks. When we last talked, I had just moved my estranged mother into my basement apartment, and, well, things are going well, as long as I steer clear of what used to be my bedroom, where she spends most of her time. She's been going through a breakup, so once in a while she'll demand a cup of noodles and I'll leave it outside the door for her. Gotta be honest, I'm beginning to feel a little more like her warden than her son, but I shouldn't complain. You know, we should all count our blessings that we aren't under an existential threat that causes us to have to bomb hospitals and schools full of unarmed civilians just to get to a couple terrorists. But thank God America is arming them against the terrifying threat that's hiding under all that rubble and children. Anyway, we changed the name of the podcast several weeks ago. I think it confused some people, so I would just love it if you could get it out there and share it with some friends if you have a minute. And of course, subscribe and review, all that stuff. And why not join our brand new Patreon? We now have 1 subscriber. Would love to get to 2 or 3. Okay, we have a great new episode for you today. First, I talked to the editor of a luxury gift guide who puts together a catalog which includes some of the most unattainable items in the world. Then I talked to a woman who acquires rental properties, and she believes that landlords are a marginalized group, which I did not know. I talked to them both in the studio. I think you're going to love it. So on with the show. Please enjoy this brand new episode of Corporations Are People Too. My first guest is the editor-in-chief of Feather and Soil, the luxury gift guide for shoppers with discriminating taste. The guide, which is available online and in catalog form, offers everything from jewel-encrusted dog collars to private yacht vacations and more. In her spare time, she leads underwater yoga classes. Please welcome Dana Van Frenkle. Hi, Dana.
Hello.
Wow, what an interesting thing. It's coming up on the holiday season, and certain people who are in the know can get your catalog, huh?
Yeah, I mean, we are a catalog company, but I really think of us as being more of a wellness company, it's just with something like the jewel encrusted dog collar, it's really all about how your dog feels about itself. And we want to instill ourselves, our pets, our plants with that sense of beauty and confidence that really, makes everyone feel good inside and out.
Right. So if you have a dog and they're in anything less than, a $40,000 jewel-encrusted dog collar, how is that dog expected to have self-esteem when it goes out there in the world?
Yeah, I mean, well, we do, we love our fur babies and we want to do everything possible to extend the life of our pets. And, recently studies have shown that jewels can increase the lifespan of a pet by 30 or 40%.
Wow. Yeah. And I know that your company does have a lot of, a whole department of scientists whose whole job it is to study these things and provide results like this.
Yeah. I mean, and results is how we think about it, right? We are a data-driven company. And so, we're really looking for, not just the private yacht vacation, but, how is the private yacht vacation making our welcomed guests feel, and we're consistently being rated 10 out of 10.
Wow. So people really like this. And, this, my listeners could be forgiven for not maybe hearing about your company because it is sort of more of you have to be in the know, sort of in the 1% to get this catalog. I mean, you've got, the prices on some of these things are a little steep, but that's sort of part of the appeal, right?
Well, I mean, you really get what you pay for.
Of course,
if you're going to go on a yacht vacation, do you want to be on the yacht vacation with, who knows who? Who knows who could be on that yacht? Do you trust the safety for, your children, your pets, just, around a bunch of other vacationers? You need the boat to yourself, right? And so in a way, it's a discount when you think about everything that you're getting out of the experience.
Yeah, I'm sure there's peace of mind that comes with like, let's go on a yachting trip and not have to worry about sort of dirty other people who might be up nearby.
Yeah, I mean, it's really, it's a holistic yacht experience. We have to mind everything, the lights, the sound, really the smells. It's the smells of other people that so often changes our experience.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. And I know you have products to address that too. You have products that are exclusive, perfumes and scents and things that
absolutely
are intended to sort of create a barrier between yourself and other people.
Yeah, I mean, really, the foundation, really, the ethos of our collection is, we want to have products to gift that will let the people in your life know that you do love them, even though none of your behavior demonstrates that.
Well, I mean, that's a thing with if you're looking at the 1% of society, and that it might just be that those people have a different way because they're better than the average people, have a different way of expressing love and affection, and they do it in the form of feather and soil products and experiences rather than time invested or a demonstrative love or things like that.
Right. I mean, sometimes people at this level, they may not have had time to necessarily see or interact with their children, for a few months. And, I mean, you may need to show your child that you love it. Can I say it?
Sure. Yeah.
It by, giving perhaps a toy car that was really made by Mercedes,
Yeah.
I mean, Hot Wheels, things have really changed a lot since we were children, right? Like we don't feed our children, the same breakfast cereals anymore. Our understanding of health has changed, and our understanding of the gifting space has evolved as well.
The gifting space and childhood development, and
we don't want to judge. We know that these Hot Wheels parents, they're doing their best, but is that enough for your kid?
Yeah, they're doing their stinky, smelly best.
Yeah.
So if you, I want to get into some of the products and experiences that you offer. I have a few listed here, and maybe just maybe you can tell me a little bit about how you go about as the editor-in-chief selecting these experiences, because there's limited real estate in the catalog, right?
Yeah.
So you've got normal stuff like Prada sandals, and there's a Burberry diamond ring pillow for your jewelry, and a Busendorfer grand piano, things like that. But also I noticed some of the experiences are really interesting, like have Banksy paint your luxury yacht in the middle of the night for $350,000.
Yeah, I mean, that really is a discount, right?
Sure.
You think about how much it would take for Banksy to paint your yacht, and what kind of price would you put on that? $1 million, $2 million,
sure,
right?
Yeah.
But then here it's available to you, for the same price as a starter home in some kind of terrible mid-sized city.
Sure, right.
So
yeah. I mean, there's also one here that says take over the role of King George III in Hamilton for one performance for $200,000.
Yeah, I mean,
that's going to be an interesting performance, I suppose.
Yeah, Hamilton, as beloved by Chasten Buttigieg. Hamilton, it really, did.
I think Chase did it one time. Did do the King Hamilton or King George III role?
Did he?
On one of the nights, he must have paid ponied up the $200,000.
Yeah, it must have been through our catalog, right?
Must have been,
one of our valued guests, clients. He's just he's obviously a huge Hamilton fan, and I think what our customers are looking for is a way to really know that they're making an impact in the world, but without necessarily having to do anything that takes time or investment. So this is perfect because you're just going to the musical, you're performing for a couple hours, probably don't have to rehearse or anything like that. You just kind of get up there, sing from the soul, and then you've changed lives,
and you've been
expressed
on Broadway.
yourself through art. Yeah,
and you haven't had to go through years of musical theater training and auditioning and all of that.
Exactly.
There's one more experience I wanted to get your take on, which is this one says operate the pump jack on the wellhead of a brand new oil well, bringing up the very first product it yields. So you can just go right out there to the oil fields and be the first person to pull the handle on a new oil well. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, this idea came about when I was talking to my friend George. Oh, Bush. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And
I thought it was King George because we were on the King George III thing.
No,
Okay.
Bush. George, but I call him George. We're on those kind of terms together.
That's
And
cute.
I think that the oil industry has really been so unfairly maligned in the past few years,
Sure
right?
has, yeah.
And we're seeking to really take back the narrative and give people the opportunity to interact with this beautiful natural substance that comes from the earth, and it fuels us. It literally fuels us.
Yeah.
And it gives us life. And we want people to be able to experience that magic for themselves.
And it's so important when you're trying to change the narrative on anything to try to put a human face on things.
Yeah.
And if we have these very likable billionaires going out there and pulling the handle, we get like we get a human face associated with something, and maybe we change our minds about this destructive nature of fossil fuels.
Yeah, I mean, I think ever since the accident, never mind. Yeah, a few years ago there was some kind of incident, but it's been way overblown, and I think it was really taken out of context by the press. And as cancel culture is these days,
of
you
course.
blow up a few people,
The
and then
liberal
all of a
media
sudden,
called it.
everyone wants to get rid of your free speech. But
I believe they called it the "There Will Be Blood" moment. And where it just exploded into the sky, and it went all over everybody and scalded people. And
right,
it's pretty
but
terrible.
I mean, I think it's not separate from what we provide. In a way, our clients, people who buy the Feather and Soil gift guide, they're people that are looking to reintroduce that healthy sense of risk into their life. Like so many times, there are people that have, the healthiest food, the highest quality of medical care. There's not a lot of opportunity to just randomly die.
Yeah.
And that is the experience that, people want to have. They want to roll the dice. They want to fill themselves with that adrenaline. And sure, some people are, taking psychedelics for that kind of thing. They're finding that therapeutic. But
some people are going to space for that.
but for us, we'd like to, it's better than a drug, right? Because it's an experience, and you can forever have something to talk about at a party.
That's so interesting. You also mentioned that the people who buy the catalog, I didn't realize that there was a price tag on the catalog itself.
Yeah, I mean,
that'll winnow out the riffraff right away.
Yeah, I mean, we can't just be, it's rare. Each catalog is printed by chopping down an entire whole tree from the Amazon rainforest, right? Because we want to make sure that it's a very specialized and individual catalog.
So how do you contend with that when I know there's an online version of it? They must have to pay for that as well, yeah?
The online version, it's really just a taste of what our offerings are, and you're not getting that, satisfaction that it's a whole tree that belongs to you from one of the most special places in the globe, really.
Yeah, I mean that's a coffee table book right there, just to put the catalog right on your coffee table and say that whole catalog is an Amazon rainforest tree.
Yeah, I mean, and one thing that a lot of people don't know yet is that our catalog is edible. It's a special type of edible paper, and it is. Doctors are saying that it is one of the best sources of prebiotic fiber that you can actually introduce into your system.
Those are your doctors. Probably, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, all kinds of doctors. I think Gwyneth was mentioning it.
Was Gwyneth a doctor?
Yeah, I think so.
I think so. She must have gotten some kind of a...
Yeah, I mean, who really trusts, doctors? Our clients aren't going to those kinds of doctors, like they're not sitting in an urgent care. They're getting the best, catalogs and vitamins and papers, to eat.
I mean, all you got to do is look at how roided up Jeff Bezos has gotten in recent years to know he's got to be eating something that's, making him strong and healthy. Yeah.
Right. I memean, Jeff is a perfect example. He's obviously one of the wealthiest people in the entire planet, but still, we see he's having a hard time with women, right? And so we want to give.
Is he?
I mean, he's not doing the roids out of nowhere, right?
No. I saw photos of his beautiful, beautiful fiance, and just so natural looking.
Right, but you would expect a guy like that to have 8 or 9 fiancés at his level, right?
Sure, yeah.
And so this catalog can give someone like Jeff, the opportunity to really, buy something very special and thoughtful, for however many fiancés he may have.
I see. Yeah. I mean, it truly is the catalog for people who have literally everything. Before we get to our second guest here, I just want to throw out there, you're also an instructor of underwater yoga. That's an interesting hobby.
Right. Yeah. I mean,
Wow.
It's thrilling. It's enthralling,
I didn't know you could do that underwater.
Well, our classes are fairly short.
Okay. So you don't have any scuba gear or anything like that?
No, it's gear free. We
Yeah.
call it the naked experience. Not literally naked,
Okay,
but
okay.
naked as in sans equipment, But each class is, but somewhere between 30 and 90 seconds long.
Okay.
And it's very reasonably priced at $500 per class, but obviously we sell packages as well.
Sure.
And it's a really it's a chance for people to connect with their inner witness.
Yeah. I mean, this is so interesting, and it really connects back to your job, because when we first started this conversation, you talked about health and wellness, and really you're looking to help people, create the best versions of themselves. And it sounds like your underwater yoga practice does that as well for people.
Right. I mean, I'm not trying to knock land-based
No?
yoga. I know that
You're not
some
going to hate
people,
on a goat yoga?
yeah, some people do have success with that, but we find that the body is capable of all kinds of other things underwater, so we want you to stretch yourself, but also to stretch yourself, right?
Yeah,
Like,
wow.
it's not just a one kind of stretching. It's stretching, but it's also stretching, and that
Yeah.
is what the underwater yoga experience.
Yeah, you're stretching your lungs
provides.
and your body and your spirit and all of it.
Yeah, Gwyneth is a huge fan.
I'm surprised to hear you speak about Gwyneth on a first name basis. Seems like her guide might be direct competition with yours now.
I mean, look, I really admire what she's doing, but when you think of feather and soil, it's not. Our brand isn't associated with something like a vagina scented candle,
Right,
for
right,
example,
right.
right? We're not targeting suburban women who maybe send their kids to public school, or work. They might be a VP or a partner or
Yeah.
something. I think that is the demographic for Gwyneth's work, and I really appreciate
see.
that, because we need people who serve our less advantaged populations.
Gotcha. Yeah. You less advantage being VPs of companies and things like the
Right,
people that Gwyneth is.
Those people deserve holiday gifts as well,
Sure.
right?
And they can have their vagina eggs, and
Yeah.
and your catalog is a little higher class than that.
Yeah, it's it's a gift for the most gifted, right? Like it's
Wow.
it's specials for the most special.
Special gift for the most gifted, special for the most special. This is all very exciting and interesting, and I'd love to come back to you and talk to you a little more at the end. Well, folks, my second guest today has a bunch of holdings, and it's up to her how hard she decides to squeeze. We're going to find out what that means, but first, let's pause and hear a quick word from our sponsor. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
It's the holiday season, and your personal shopping assistants are out of ideas. After doing deep research on your wife and children, they still can't find that one special gift that will make your family feel like you love them, even though you spend very little quality time with them. You need Feather and Soil, the gift guide for the top 1% of the global elite. Of course, our gift guide has swimming pools and grand pianos, but we also offer experiences. Wouldn't your wife love to be in Wicked on Broadway? Perhaps your son would like to open a brand new oil well. And we have smaller items too, trinkets like Prada bags and Tiffany necklaces that are sure to keep the au pair happy and quiet. Inquire about the Feather and Soil catalog today, and tomorrow we'll be shredding a Brazilian rainforest tree into a fine edible pulp, all to print your bespoke catalog just in time for the holidays. Feather and Soil. If you have to ask, you can't afford it.
And we're back. I'd like to remind you at this point, as I do every show, that I, Dean Ardenfell, am not and have never been an employee of Hogswood Cooper Media or any of its subsidiaries. Okay, we've been talking to Dana Van Frenkle, editor-in-chief for Feather and Soil, and now I'd like to bring in my second guest, who works for a totally different subsidiary of Hogswood Cooper. She's the VP of Acquisitions for Tight Grip Holdings, a mom-and-pop company that holds rental properties in Southern California. TGP is about to start its 2024 fundraising drive in order to expand and diversify its portfolio. On weekends, she builds her own zip lines. Please welcome Lucy Beth Tuddswell. Hi, Lucy Beth.
Hi, how are you?
Oh, great. What an exciting job you have, responsible for, adding properties to this essentially landlord company, this Tight Grip Holdings. Yeah.
Yes.
That must be a challenging and interesting profession.
It is. Every day is its own reward. Whether that reward is financial or other.
Well, you're getting a lot of flack these days, obviously, landlords, for hoarding properties when there's such a housing crisis everywhere. But, I think that's mainly just haters who, for whatever reason, can't go out there and buy their own homes or won't because they're too lazy and that sort of thing, right? I mean, it must be hard to be a landlord these days because there's so much hate out there for landlords.
It's tough. Being a member of any minority group is always difficult.
Sure.
And I'm all about intersectionality at the end of the day.
Yeah.
I don't care if you're gay. I don't care if you're a homeowner. I respect you.
I didn't think that was the way that word was going to end. So
I'm sorry. What did you think I was going to say?
I won't say it, but I do find it interesting you think of a landlord as a marginalized group.
Well, people definitely, don't like us.
Yeah, that's true. And you're in the minority. So that by its very nature, you are a minority.
The 1% is the minority. It's just math.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. I mean, you got a lot of millennials out there today, or Gen Z, whining that, I got to pay 70% of my income on housing to rent, or I have to skip my meals to afford a place to live. How do you respond to that kind of whining?
Well, I guess, there's two ways to respond to it, really. You can meet their whining with more whining. And then you get into this endless whining loop.
Yeah.
Or you can raise the rent and then they're too busy working more to whine.
Oh, is that what's happening?
Yes.
See, I always thought it was like inflation and, hoarding wealth and all these different reasons for rent consistently being...
No, I just don't like the criticism.
It's just, that is your response to criticism.
Oh, yeah, it's a punishment.
And it is punitive.
Oh,
okay.
yeah.
Because I was wondering, because you're saying essentially like if they're working harder, they're not complaining.
And
that
because they don't have the time or the energy, they're exhausted.
Okay, interesting. So it's both. It's both punitive and it is a way to get them to shut up, I guess.
Yes.
See,
Silencing
them. Yeah, interesting. I would never have thought of that. So you're also getting raked over the coals by the liberal social media for you've started this upcoming fundraising drive where you're actually literally asking your tenants for donations because it's been so hard to diversify your portfolio during COVID and stuff.
It's been diversification of my portfolio during COVID was probably one of the worst things to happen throughout the whole pandemic.
Is that so?
The quality of my portfolio plummeted.
Really?
God, it was awful. It was awful. I had tenants who refused to get out of their apartments.
Yeah. Right.
Despite the fact that I had tenants willing to pay more money for the units.
Sure.
And legally, I can't go in there and I can't say, hey, you don't live here anymore?
Yeah,
that's wrong.
There were like a couple months there where legally landlords were not allowed to evict people. And that must have been really hard on landlords.
That was really hard for us.
Yeah.
That was like really traumatic.
Yeah.
Like, I hate to say the word toxic, but it was toxic.
Wow. It's so interesting hearing this from your perspective, the idea of landlords as marginalized people who are dealing with toxic culture and really, having people taking advantage of you, really.
Always, always. That's what happens,
Sure.
No good deed goes unpunished.
Right. And so the good deed of you trying to raise a whole bunch of money from the tenants of your properties, you're getting pushback from those tenants and they're saying, oh, we don't have any extra disposable income. What do you think? What do you take us for? So it doesn't feel like it's been particularly effective in raising capital for you.
Not quite.
No.
Not quite. But I will say we've figured out a way, and you can try this with your business, but we have figured out a way to play into the culture war.
Oh,
right?
interesting.
So you see these kids, they're always complaining. They're always upset.
Sure.
And so what we do is we go, look at these baristas.
Mm-hmm.
Look at these pierced them baristas.
The snowflakes.
Who think that they can just live in a home.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then that gets people mad online because they don't like them because they have septum piercings.
I see.
And then they give me money, and I've actually raised a lot of money because of this.
So if I'm reading this correctly, you've ginned up a phony culture war to raise capital from working class conservatives.
yes.
So smart.
Yeah. They get really upset.
Yeah, they sure do.
When you say things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, when you start hitting all those trigger words like snowflake and
God, it's like a password.
Yeah, well, it's like a whistle that only they can hear. I don't know what you call that, but
Socialist money, please.
Yeah. Oh wow, I'm so glad that you're finally turning that around, and you're actually going to be able to diversify that portfolio.
Yeah, we're going to be able to diversify the hell out of it.
That's great. And you build your own zip lines.
I do build my own zip lines, but that's a passion project.
From point to point.
Yes.
What kinds of points make for good amateur zip lining?
Well, we have quite a few. My favorite is the one that we have that runs from City Hall down to the library.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, the city has not sanctioned it. They've taken it down several times.
Interesting.
But we have gotten seed funding from several VCs to keep it going and fight the legal issues.
Okay. And this is just for your own personal hobby. This is you're fighting City Hall literally to be able to put a zip line on their roof.
Yes, my dream has always been to zip line from City Hall to the library. I've made 3 trips so far.
Amazing.
None of them successful.
Oh, no.
Yes, I've fallen 3 times.
Okay, I was going to ask what makes for an unsuccessful
much like
zip.
Jesus.
Okay. Oh, interesting. Okay. So when you fell, were you at the high end or the low end or somewhere in between?
Oh, pretty high.
Okay.
Pretty high. Yeah. There was a net.
Oh, there was
a net.
Did you have any permanent injuries or anything?
Nope. Pretty soft soil.
Oh yeah, the park is in between, I suppose. So that was probably helpful. That's great. Well, very interesting. Well, I'd love to bring my second guest back in here and see if there's any. I always like to see if there's any sort of connection, or any synchronicity, ways that you guys could work together, or that sort of thing. You've both got interesting hobbies and work with a lot of 1% very wealthy people.
Yeah, I mean, it is really important to me as well to, stand up for the marginalized like landlords.
Yeah,
so I really appreciate the work that you're doing. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you for that.
Interesting.
That's so rare.
Yeah, it's just, with cancel culture being what it is now. And
I like her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People just feel so entitled to live in a house.
I know.
It's disgusting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Could you foresee any way in which your two companies could, find some way to work together, do you think?
Ooh, we could do a collab.
Many of our clients are our landlords. We have the CEOs of the large banks who are really, also essential to providing housing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, we care about the same things.
We do. I've been a fan of yours for a while, actually, Dana.
Have you ever purchased anything from our gift guide?
I did. I purchased a solid gold TV stand for my nephew's brother.
Oh, amazing. So one of our kind of like lower end items.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, I wasn't going to go all out for the nephew brother.
Yeah, he's just a child, right?
He's
he doesn't
46.
Yeah, but I'm not trying to generalize here, but so often men will never know if something is gold or platinum.
No, they have no idea. It could be filled. They have no clue.
It has also been said that the uber wealthy male set at 45 is essentially a child.
Yeah.
So you bought a solid gold TV stand.
Solid gold. Yes.
Wow. I can't even imagine.
It is just so scratched. It was a really bad idea. It's like 10
it's
carat.
very soft. Yeah.
It's so soft.
Gold is soft, isn't it?
Yeah. It immediately absorbed the television.
Interesting. Is it
with
hot
all of
there?
our products,
Where does he
really...
live? Is it hot there?
No, just the weight,
It
the
didn't
sheer
melt?
weight.
Okay.
It just imploded.
I
Okay.
don't want to say these are the typical results. I mean, you have to follow the instructions for taking care of the
Do you have
product.
I did want to ask for a refund.
I was going to
today.
say, what is your return policy at Feather and Soil?
Well, as all of our items are custom made, so there's no return policy.
Oh, really?
Okay,
Interesting.
well,
Okay.
I have to say this is a real disappointment.
Lucy Beth, you were on a tear about what a fan you were of my other guest, and now it seems like we've crossed over into disgruntled customer territory here.
I was trying to butter her up
Oh, I
so
see.
I could get a refund.
I didn't know that you were supposed to say that part out loud, but okay.
Well, clearly it hasn't worked, and
No.
it's not going to.
No.
But this is a big disappointment because no. I'm sorry, Dan. Please let me finish. This is a disappointment because you have always historically been a big supporter of lobs, landlord operated businesses. You
Landlord
have
operated businesses.
always supported lobs.
Also,
And today,
LLOB.
this is very unlob-like behavior. I will just say that.
I think, Dean, when you were asking me earlier why we do, want to limit the catalog distribution to only, a very exceptional group of people,
Right.
Versus, going for that wider audience. This would be the perfect example. This is somebody who, probably isn't
Are you
quite at the
calling me
level.
wider audience?
I think maybe you're not, necessarily in the demographic that can easily acquire a gold television stand,
So I'm so sorry. This tension is making me very uncomfortable, and I'm a very anti-confrontational person. I did want to ask you, Dana. It can't be that that you never get complaints from your customers. It seems like you must have people constantly wanting to return things or complain about them. Yeah.
Well, I mean, is there ever complaints? Probably, but we don't hear them. I mean, our clients have a list of, 12, 15 people that they can complain to. Staff,
I see.
their
I see.
therapists, their children, if they talk to them at all.
So maybe Lucy Beth, maybe there just needs to be a few more people for you to complain to in your life.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure. Yeah, of course. Anything.
Do you own your home?
No, absolutely not. No, I live in a basement apartment. It is rented.
We love to hear that. Okay. Thank you.
That's the show. Thanks for listening, everybody. I'm Nathan Hartswick playing Dean Ardenfell. Dana Van Frenkle was played by Kate Willett. Kate is a super sharp stand-up comedian and writer who has been on Netflix, Comedy Central, and a whole lot more. Lucy Beth Tuddswell was played by Samantha Ruddy, another hilarious comedian and writer who has appeared on The Tonight Show, The Late Show, Full Frontal, and many more. Check both of those comics out. This episode was produced and edited by Sam Kernan and myself, with marketing assistance from Addison Eyring and studio space provided by Local Maverick at localmaverickus.com. Special thanks to Aaron Paulson for the ad read on this episode. Follow us at Corporations Are People Too. Subscribe, review, tell your friends about the podcast, and don't forget to check out the Patreon at patreon.com/corporationsarepeople2. See you in a couple weeks.